We're going to be working on this leaf spring here. I'm actually going to be pulling off a U-bolt because I got to run to Fleet Pride and get some parts, return that yoke puller that borrowed it because we ordered one, but it was the wrong one, so they borrowed us theirs. So I need to return that one, and so we get our new one in. But I'm going to be working on this leaf spring. I'll show you guys a safe way to do this. You can get yourself a frame lift. Basically, it's just a really tall jack that you can put up underneath there and stuff. I don't really like those too much. I like this way better. Basically, you just build a nice, pyramid structure with some 6x6, blocks, and you put yourself a 20-ton block up underneath the frame. That gets you a real good, strong hold point on your frame. That's going to keep it up. Cut into one. Cut on that one. Sparker. And then you just take a punch, come up from above, put it on top, and just pump them out. That. This one's going to be a little harder. I don't have no swing on it. Pull this leaf spring so we can do this and this will be completed. Basically, it's pretty easy. You just pull off your fender, the plastic fender mount right here. It's really easy to do that. And then you got a bolt in the back in the shackle. And I've already checked the blade in the other. There's a bushing that's in the top mount. I've already checked that. The way that you do that is you jack the frame up like I have it. You do the front axle and you just lower it to where the weight just comes right off of the spring. There's a point. And then basically what you do is you put a pry bar in there and you can just move back and forth and you can see the shackle moves up and down because it's, it's just floating. There's no pressure on it, and that's how you can check your bushings. Bushings are good. The spring has lost its sprung. This side over here, the other side is about this distance. Right now I got it way down. But if I actually put the tire on here and put the weight on here, it comes up to like here. The spring has just lost its sprung. It's kind of, the bottom spring is kind of moved over on it. It just needs a new spring on this side. So we're going to be replacing it. Pretty simple. You guys saw me cut the U-bolt off. Did that. I'll be cutting the other one off, but right now I'm trying to get everything free before I go too nuts here. There is the one bolt in the lower shackle back there. And that one there, you just put an impact on. It's 1 1/8 inches. put it on there and wrap it off. I'm about ready to do the front one. To get to the front one, I had to move the air dryer up here. The air dryer was right away, and I'm not going to try to mess around with wrenches and everything else. So I actually just moved the air dryer and just tied it up with a rope. Just hung it up a little bit. I'm going to detach all the hoses and wires and stuff. So I just got it sitting up there, and we'll get this side pulled off. Go. See now that it's completely sitting on that one jack now. This jack is just holding up the axle. That's all that's doing. So now there's a pin in the middle. It's hard to see right now. I'll show it to you guys later. But you gotta get a big pry bar, get that off of there. That'll relieve pressure on the spring. And then I gotta loosen up the back shackle, and that'll be able to get everything cleaned up. There we go. I needed to have a little bit more room. I had the axle too high. So it was a little hard to get that out of there, but I had to do a little bit of a geometry there to find the angles to get it out. I needed to be able to drop the axle loader, but I jacks all the way down. It just barely comes out of there. So, just slide her on out. Well, here's the new axle, the new spring, laid next to the old one. And you can see a lot of the problem with this spring. The bushing is actually broken. So this mount here is actually moving, the spring is moving back and forth. It's pretty common. They get worn out, they break, you know, and they get miles on them. But you can see how they work here. There is a front and a back to these springs. And there's usually a plus up on the front here. That's up there. And then you can see how they got a notch right there, like a pin. What you have to do is put it up in there, and then on the block that's on the axle itself, there is a hole there for that. That's where that pin sits in. And then up underneath here, there's a spot where there's a nut on the other side of that spring, and that's where that nut sits in. So I got to clean that all out, pound out the old U-joints quick, and start putting it back in there.